You lost today, kid. But it doesn't mean you have to like it.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, released in 1989, which means that this movie is turning 30 this year. You wanna know how I know that this film is turning 30? Because I'm turning 30 this year as well. Can you believe it? This movie is 30 years old. What happened to the time? This film, of course, is directed by the great Steven Spielberg, who we have talked a lot about on this channel so far. Do I have to list his credits again? I mean, you know, right? The film stars, of course, Harrison Ford, Sean Connery, Julianne Glover, John Rhys-Davies, Denholm Elliott, and Alison Doody. Or Dottie. I'm not sure which it is. And this, of course, is continuing our journey to episode 100 and beyond of Caleb Watches Movies. This is my favorite action-adventure film. And gosh, do I have to explain why? I'll be happy to. When I was looking at this list and it said, what is your favorite action-adventure film? I said, I'll just make a list and pick randomly from that. There are so many films that I could have put here. Could easily have put any of the Lord of the Rings films, any comic book film out there would have fallen under this genre. There were just so many. But you know, every time I thought about the films that were going on this list, the first one that always popped into my mind first was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I just thought, well, if it's popping up every single time that I'm thinking about this category, that has to be my favorite one. And for very good reason. It's Indiana Jones. He's almost the ultimate action adventurer. When I think action adventurer, I think of treasure hunting. And I know many people would say that Raiders of the Lost Ark is the superior one in this film franchise. And they would be absolutely correct in that assumption. But for me, Last Crusade, it's that search for the Holy Grail that puts it above Raiders. That and the relationship between Indiana Jones and his father. The chemistry between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, you would think that they were actually father and son. In the first two Indiana Jones films, we had the female sidekick to Indiana, and they were always played the damsel in distress role. And it got a little over the top in the Temple of Doom. Well, a lot of things went over the top in Temple of Doom. Still an enjoyable flick, but yeah, it's definitely not better than this one. So when it comes to the third and final entry into the Indiana Jones franchise, that's right, I said final entry, it was really nice to see, instead of the damsel in distress role, we see the parental figure in here. And Sean Connery knocks Harrison Ford down emotionally and physically several times, which is something that you didn't see in the other two films. Indiana Jones always had the right answer. He was always, you know, in control most of the time about everything. But you know how it is with parents. Once they enter the fray, your life kind of gets fucked up. Dad, what? Dad, what? They just keep bickering back and forth throughout the entire film, but it definitely pays off in the final moments when Indy is reaching for that grail, and then you hear his dad just simply say, Indiana. So throughout the entire film, he's calling Indiana Jones Jr. Jr. So when he finally says the name Indiana, that pulls his attention, and it's just a great scene, and it's a great beat to see. I also think that this film has staying power because it's a Grail quest, and there's something about searching for the Holy Grail that really just captures someone's attention. It's that idea that immortality and that eternal life is obtainable some way. Plus, there's also that kind of search in every person out there. There's that search to have some kind of relationship with a divine figure, no matter what your religion is. And this cup, this thing that was passed down, you know, as legend, is just something that we've always wanted to find. But as we know, the price of immortality is a little steep. You want immortality? Okay, you can have it. You can only go like 25 feet though. Oh, only that far? Do I want it? Yeah, I think I do.
You have chosen poorly.
Oh, I love that. And I remember growing up with this film on VHS. Before the film started, there was always that Diet Coke commercial where Indiana Jones used his whip and got the Diet Coke can, and then the knight said,
You have chosen wisely.
Diet Coke around this time had some kick-ass film advertisement going on. They also did that for the Batman '89 film too, and God, I really want a Diet Coke right now. I've also discovered that on this last viewing that Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, I think, was an inspiration for the animated film Frozen. You don't believe me? Where do you think the knock knock Elsa line came from?
Elsa?
I know. It blew my mind. See it again.
Elsa?
Do you want to build a snowman?
Elsa, do you want to build a snowman? How bad was that Harrison Ford impersonation? That was pretty bad, wasn't it? But there are so many great action scenes with this film. The battle with the rats in the sewers, the battle on the boats, the battle with the tank, the final battle of the trials at the very end when he's trying to get to the Holy Grail. Just when I think of all those elements, that sums up what action adventure is, with a little bit more emphasis on adventure. And Indiana Jones in this film is getting back to his roots. He is a professor, he's an archaeologist, and he's going on a treasure hunt. Not like in Temple of Doom, where he's kind of doing something with the mob, and then he, kind of falls into something in Indonesia somewhere. No, this is Indiana Jones at his finest. This is action adventure at its finest, and I definitely recommend, if you're not a big fan of Indiana Jones in general, still pop this one in. I think you'd be surprised and that you'll like it. Plus, the amazing ending at the end when they're literally riding off into the sunset. I mean, can you think of a better ending to a franchise? That's right, ending. So in case if you haven't noticed, I'm giving Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade 5 out of 5 Blu-rays. With this list, and whenever it says favorite something, you're probably going to get a 5 out of 5 for me. So everyone, we are moving right along with our journey to episode 100 and beyond series, and next time we are going to be looking at my favorite horror picture. The horror. That's not a hint, I was just doing Marlon Brando. Kinda. So horror pictures. Gotta be honest, I'm not a big horror fan. I'm actually a huge fan of the Saw franchise, but I wouldn't consider that to be my favorite horror film. Trying to think of a good hint for this film, and the only one that's popping into my mind is, "We found a witch, may we burn her?" That's Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and that's not a horror film, but it's kind of along the same line. I see the title of this film and immediately think that line, so there you go. That's your hint. We found a witch, can we burn her? So everyone, do you think you know what my favorite horror picture is? Or, even better yet, if you've never seen Last Crusade before, please comment below, let me know what you thought about it. This is your first time. And when you're done commenting, please like and subscribe to my channel so you know the next time I post my next movie review. So everyone, I will see you next time with my favorite horror picture. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.